My name is David, and American Water owns Kentucky American Water, right?
Yes.
And American Water is for sale.
Yes, that's correct.
So, ergo, Kentucky American Water is for sale. And the fair thing to do, given that the water's here, the people using the water here, is give us the opportunity to buy it, just like those folks up in New England had the opportunity.
Well, that kind of leads to my first question for you, Mr. Vice Mayor, and you can respond to his question. And I asked it first, why not sell to the city if it's for sale?
Right, and I think I gave my best answer very early in the evening when I said it's not for sale. The ergo just doesn't get it. Kentucky American is not for sale. It would be like coming to my company and saying, you know, you're going to sell all your stores. We're not. You're going to sell Thomas & King. We're not. But I want to buy just that one restaurant on Richmond Road because it makes money and I want it. So we want you to separate that from the sale of your whole company to a buyer. That's not reasonable. So we say if American Water for sale and Kentucky American must be for sale. That's not correct. What's for sale is the company that owns Kentucky American. That's what's for sale.
Well, let's really clarify that. All 29 systems in American Water Works are for sale. The seller currently only wants to sell them as a whole. Now that's the real distinction. It's not that Kentucky American is not for sale along with the other 28 systems. It is for sale. RWE only wants to sell it as a package. What we want is the opportunity to slice that off as a local community and buy our local system.
I guess what I'm hearing you say is we want the opportunity to force the owner to do what we want to do as opposed to what they want to do, which I think is just the most unfair position in this matter that we could take. Just because we want to own it,
and as I've said, and this is one of our key points of disagreement, Mike, fairness is not the question. The company will be fairly compensated. The company will be fairly compensated for its property. It's a legal right of this community to do this.
just because it's a right doesn't make it fair. I'm going to hang my hat on fair.
Sadly, we're about out of time. A minute, maybe a little less for closing statements, gentlemen, please. Since Vice Mayor Mike Scanlon went first with the opening statement, Mr. Ackerman, would you go first with the closing statement, please?
I appreciate everybody's patience tonight. It's been a warm room, and I certainly thank anybody that's been listening to us for hanging in for the 2 hours of all this. This is a very dense topic. We've been at it for 5 years. We could be at it for another 5 hours tonight if they'd let us. The important point about local ownership is just that. It is local. It is people you can contact with a problem. It is, in comparison, more beneficial to the community to own the water system locally than to have the ownership at constant risk of the economic markets and the stock exchange. But there's one point I want to make very quickly in closing. I've watched several candidate forums this fall. Both mayoral candidates have been asked, if the referendum fails, will you still try to get by the water company? And both of them have committed to live by the referendum. If it passes, they'll obey it. If it fails, that's the end of the process. I suspect most council candidates have faced the same question. Everybody has faced that question except the water company. And I'd like to ask tonight, with President Nick Rowe here, if the referendum passes, will you commit to good faith negotiations with Lexington for the purchase of the water company?
I need a quick yes or no, Mr. Rowe. We're about out of time.
The question on the ballot is eminent domain. It's not whether or not Kentucky
Cruiser,
all right,
Nick, I'd like to jump in.
Okay, you got about a minute, Mike.
Right. You talk about a last-minute ambush. You talk about asking a guy in the last 60 seconds of a 2-hour debate about an ambush. I hate to see this end on such an unhappy note. The question is about the referendum. That's what the debate is here tonight, not a last-minute ambush. Now, when I was preparing what I thought I'd say earlier this evening at my closing, I thought I would start my closing off by saying, you know, I haven't heard anything new tonight. But you know, I have heard something new tonight. I did hear Foster Ackerman say that if we get this company, we're going to run it essentially the same. If we're going to run this company essentially the same, why should we buy it? We have other priorities. We have sewers to fix. We have policemen and firefighters to take better care of. We have traffic situations to take care of. Let's stay on our priorities.
We got to end here. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.